Hey there everybody, it's Nathan Cool with nathancoolphoto.com, and in this episode I want to talk about how you can make more money for your real estate business by offering add-ons. It's what I call the add-on advantage. Now, doing real estate photography like I do in most of the videos here on my channel, I hear some people say that, well, I get requests for video, or I get requests for doing virtual tours, I get requests for doing virtual staging, different things like that, and somebody comes along and asks me that. I'd just rather have someone else do that. And if you say that, you're really losing money. You're losing an opportunity. I'm going to tell you why. Some of it may not be so evident. So I want to be able to cover that. Also, how you can go about offering some of these things, some of the things to consider if you're going to offer certain types of add-ons. Now, the first thing with the advantage of having add-ons, that add-on advantage, is that it requires less travel on your part. It also requires fewer bookings on your part, and this is the advantage. So you've heard me say before in other videos, like when I talked about pricing and whatnot a few videos back, that I would rather do one $500 gig than run around to 5 $100 gigs. Now, some of the feedback that I've gotten when I would say something like that is immediately like, well, you're in Southern California, you can charge $500 to go shoot a house. Well, that's not necessarily true. What happens is when I go to a gig, if it's worthwhile, for just photos and it's got some upsell opportunities, then I'm gonna be doing other stuff while I'm there. So I would rather drive once to go to a property and do, for instance, photos, maybe a video, maybe also something else with a virtual tour, also providing websites. Whatever these add-ons are, they're an opportunity that you can then make more money. So you only have to get to a property once, and that's about it. So you can go there, and each one of these add-ons, if you price them properly, then it's going to equate close to what would be another gig. So for instance, a great example, recently I live up in Ventura County. I'm on the border of Los Angeles County, and I work in both counties. So got an opportunity for a decent house down in downtown Los Angeles, and because it was in downtown Los Angeles and the price of the real estate was very high, it's an opportunity to upsell for, well, not just photos, but wouldn't you like to have drone? Wouldn't you like to have video with that? And also, how about a website? So these were opportunities where I'm just going to take one drive all the way down to Los Angeles, stay there for quite a while, do all this, come back and make more than I would if I had to run around to a few houses out here in Ventura County. So those are some things to consider, but there's more to it than just that. The add-on advantage isn't just that you can make more money because you'll have more of these add-ons that you'll be charging for. It's also that you'll be getting some client retention because you'll become a one-stop shop. So you got clients right now, and let's say they hire you to do photos. All of a sudden, something comes along where they need to have a video. They want a video. They want maybe or need a virtual tour or a website or something else comes their way that they get a request for. I recently had one realtor in particular say, hey, I'm getting requests from my marketing department to start using websites. Well, ding, ding, ding. That's one of those add-ons that I provide, so I can upsell that. Along with that, some of the things that would look better in the website would be other things like maybe we can do a video with that also. That would help. And you can come up with some package deals. So that puts all those add-ons together so that you can get that client to keep coming back instead of, well, let's see, Nathan does photos and this gal over here, she does websites, and maybe somebody else over here does video and drone. They want to make one call. They want a one-stop shop, and there are one-stop shops, I guarantee, in your area. So if you're just specializing in one thing, well, you might want to think about branching out. That brings up the next difficult step, which is what add-ons do you want to provide and what add-ons do you want to do yourself? So you have to think about what skills you might want to ramp up on. Now, there's easy what we might call an entry point into some of these things, the level of entry to get into, for instance, from photography to video. That's not a big hurdle to overcome. So that's something you can easily do. Same with virtual tours. These are just camera operations. Sure, video is a little bit different from photography, but you know, I've got the books on both. And if you haven't seen those, by the way, I have links to both my virtual tour book and also my book on doing videography in the description for this video, as well as some of the other books I've written on real estate photography. So with those skills that you already have being a photographer, you can easily become enough of a videographer to offer these one-stop shop type of add-ons. And over time, if you get enough work and practice those skills, then you can excel at that. Now let's talk about some other add-ons though that you might not want to do. Now, if we talk about, for instance, video, virtual tours, you're doing photography, those three right there, the big three, are very similar. But what about drone? Well, as you may know, I don't do drone myself. So I have a partner, it's Jonathan the Drone Guy out here in Los Angeles. And I do all Jonathan's real estate photography, and he does all of my drones. So when he gets a call, boom, I get pulled into a gig, I get a call for drone, he gets pulled into that gig on my side. So we have this mutual arrangement that works really well because I just don't want to get into doing drone. Someday maybe I will, but to stay up on the 107 license, worry about flying that thing. I've got enough stuff going on operating cameras to have to worry about flying around stuff. And he specializes in nothing but drones. So that's kind of an entry point that I really didn't want to pursue, but it may be something that you want to pursue. And maybe that was also your barrier to entry. So to get into anything, whether it's photography, whether it's videography, where's your skill set, and then you have to overcome that barrier of entry to get into it. So if you've already been flying drones, fantastic. You want to get into photography, expand some of your services, that may be something to pursue. If you're doing photography now and you want to provide other add-ons, your barrier of entry for video and virtual tours is low, drone may be a little bit higher because now you're going to start working with, you know, airspace and traffic control, stuff like that. It's not that difficult, and most photographers pass that 107 with ease, but it might not be something that really interests you. That's basically, though, for the primary type of add-ons, but there's a lot more to it. So there's a whole lot of other add-ons to consider, but before you do, there's one important thing you have to bear in mind. It isn't just listing this stuff on your website, what you're going to be doing with it. You got to be careful on how you try to sell this to your clients. You don't want to come off like the proverbial used car salesman that would be trying to upsell you on the undercoating and the special extended warranty that you need. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to hard sell this. You want to be able to soft sell this to your clients by letting them know that you offer these things. So it's a matter of looking for the upsell opportunities. So this happens quite a bit when I get feedback where somebody, a photographer, asking me a question, making a comment about, well, I was out there and then they asked me this, or I saw this. It was just an impossible situation. What am I going to do with it? Great example. Shooting a house doesn't shoot too well during the daytime. Upsell opportunity, twilight. That's another add-on. So if a house isn't shooting very well during the day, for what other reason, there's some add-ons there. And I'll get to both twilights and all that in just a second here when we talk about faux twilights and stuff. And I know, don't cringe yet, because I got something I want to say about that. But the fact is that when you sense an opportunity, then use that opportunity. The most obvious opportunities for upsells for add-ons may, of course, be you've got a very expensive house, you've got a very large house, you've got a luxury realtor. That's easy upsell opportunity. But you also might have someone who's a real go-getter who hasn't yet used some of these other add-ons like video or virtual tour, and you might have really ramped up your skills on them. That may be an opportunity to say, hey, you know, for this house or maybe your next one, you might want to think about a video. So I think this would help you stand out from some of the competition if you know also how to help them utilize that video. So that's an important thing also, telling them, hey, you know, I'll provide you a 60-second Instagram so you can share it if this person is very Instagram type savvy, social media savvy, or once again through a website or whatever it is that you can also provide as an add-on. So those upsells are important, but you got to be careful not to hard sell those. So I mentioned before about websites, and that really is one of the easiest upsells, and there's companies out there that provide them, and then you just have a markup on that to provide that website for them. And I'll have links to some of these companies down in the description for this video if you want to pursue that further. And there's tons of them that are constantly coming out, and there's some that I would trust over others because you don't want a fly-by-night type of company doing any type of outsourced work that you're going to be doing. As you know, in a video recently, I talked about outsourcing, and that gets to be kind of a tricky subject. But something else to really consider, I mentioned about the twilights, and this is a very important feature. Now, it sometimes is painful for me, if you, especially you live farther north than Southern California, you know, in the summertime, you're out late in June or July if somebody wants a twilight, right? And so that's a tough add-on because it's another trip to go out there. So I charge a premium. If somebody's gonna charge me to do a twilight, I only do them within about a 10-mile radius of my house. That's it. You want me to go farther than that? There's an increase in price over that, but I offer another option, and that is the day to dusk. That's taking, you know, a daytime picture and turning it into a twilight photo. Now, I know that's not exactly the true twilight, and no, I am not a fan of day to dusk. I'm not promoting that, but I offer that as an option, and I do have some clients that do like day to dusk. Here's why. One, they don't have to have me come back out to the property because they also are inconvenienced, or their sellers are inconvenienced. Also, it's a lower price to get into that. So it's also an easy add-on for me. I'm already there. I've already taken the trip to be there. I don't need to make a second trip out to the property. And then for a lower price, just sitting at home, I can edit a picture, and my day to dusk pricing is per photo. And it's not this per photo charge that you get out of some of these photo mills and editors. It incorporates and is calculated out to 1 hour of my editing time. So you can calculate that too for doing a possible day to dusk as an option for add-ons beyond just doing regular twilights. Here's another one you might not have thought of, but it's becoming popular, at least in our area out here, and that's a weekend charge. So somebody wants you to come out on a weekend. Real estate, 7 days a week, right? You come out all day. It's like, yeah, I have a family too. So it's like, I have to have some time off. Sure, I like to make money, and I'll work weekends, absolutely, if you want me to. And it's at a cost. So you can think about, well, okay, depending on your area or market, you want to charge an extra 50 bucks, extra 100, 150, whatever it is, if you're going to go out, or maybe a percentage of the shoot if they want you to come out on a Saturday. So depending on what you can do to get away with that, right, it allows you to not be inconvenienced. It keeps good clients coming back to you as long as the price isn't too outrageous. And it's an add-on. You're compensated for that. A couple other things too to consider for add-ons that aren't that difficult to go forward with. And you can think about, for instance, the floor plan option. It's not very popular in my area here in Southern California. Other areas it may be. And this is simple by getting an application that does this. And most of these applications, it's really somebody else, that outfit, that company doing it, like a CubiCasa or whatnot, that they're actually drawing up the floor plans based off information you took off the app. It doesn't really require you to be on site all that much, and you can charge more for this because if the realtor wants to do it themselves, fine, but if they're going to go through you, there's a markup to do these type of add-ons like that. Same thing goes for virtual staging. I have a lot of clients that'll just use box Brownie. That's fine, and their pricing, it's okay, you know, for getting a per image of a virtually staged room. And if a realtor wants to do that, that's fine, but you could also use them or other services, and you could be the middleman for that, and you could easily charge them those add-ons and not do it yourself. Or you could also find virtual staging software and do this as well. So that's another type of add-on to consider. Another one that can come to mind, you might not have thought of this, but it's also the quick turnaround. So if somebody wants a premium, if they want like next day, so let's say you're doing a 3,000 square foot house. Well, there could be quite a bit of editing involved with that, even if it's just for photos, but you could provide quick turn by outsourcing that. If you have a good outsourcer, and yes, I did talk about the risk of outsourcing in a couple videos back, and not to contradict that, but if you are really keeping that busy and you're getting all these type of add-ons that you're selling, you can get a good outsource editor. You have to seek one out, and then when you do, you can offer that for a very high premium price. So you could offer that to your clients at twice the markup, for instance, of what you would charge or what you would have to pay the editor. And I'm not saying that it's because editors are cheap. I don't care what the editor charges you. If somebody wants something very fast and they're willing to pay for it, then you've got to take advantage of that add-on. You've got some overhead with it. Somebody else has to get paid for it. This is a business. You're in business to make money, and that's the idea of it. So that's something else also to consider. Along with that, though, you have to think about the clients. So you have to think about really prioritizing clients based off add-ons. When you find clients that are willing to go with add-ons, that means they trust you for their media solutions. Not just photography, their media solutions. So they're marketing based off of media that was produced by an entity, and you would be that business entity, and thus they trust you for that. Anybody willing to do that is a 5-star client. Well, maybe if they also pay very well, right? And other things along with that, but they rank at the very top. So my clients that pay me to come out and do photos and video and drone and virtual tour, they pay for websites, those clients, they're ranked at the very top because they really put a lot of trust in me. And also, once again, going back to step number 1 on this, the advantage first is that I don't have to travel very far. Those clients hire me, I go out to a gig, that's all I have to do for an entire day to make what I would off of perhaps 3 properties by just going to 1. Above all else, no matter what you do with add-ons, is you have to know which add-ons are most beneficial in your market and for you to also utilize in your offerings. So not everybody will want video, not everybody will want virtual tours, not everybody will want floor plans, twilights, all these other things. So for instance, in our area, floor plan isn't that popular as it compares to something like doing property videos or virtual tours or websites. Newer construction areas, different markets, those are definitely at the top of the list for doing floor plans. Very popular in some markets where they might not have the same popularity. So you need to keep attuned to your competitive market, knowing what your clients may be looking for in the way of add-ons, and also what's being offered in your particular region, in your market, also for add-ons. There's no sense in providing add-ons just because you can do them or because you think they're kind of cool. It's really a business decision. And if you find that there's an add-on that you just don't have the skill for or you just dread doing it, then consider possibly working with someone in your area that does that. For instance, I do that with my drone work. I wouldn't necessarily write my own virtual staging software. I might not even want to use a virtual staging app, though you can use another service that will do that for you, and you can have a markup on that as well. So once again, know what will work in your market, and then figure out which ones you want to do yourself and which ones you want to be able to outsource. Anyways, I hope this video was useful for you and that you can use some of this in your photography as well. If you did like this video, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It won't cost anything, and as soon as one of these videos is posted, you'll be the first to know. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, take care, be safe, and get out there and shoot something.